Welcome to the Devonshire Diz. Today, Lauren and I reminisce on our 2024 Walt Disney World trip and our first as a family of 4. Let's get into it. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Devonshire Diz and our first episode of 2025.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. We've decided to start off our 2025 podcast episodes with a bit of a reflection of 2024 and our Disney adventures that we went on last year, and also at the end of it have a little bit of time to talk about 2025 and beyond.
Sounds perfect.
As you can hear, I'm joined by Lauren for a little bit of sofa chat today.
Hi.
Hello everyone, hope everyone has started the year in a fabulous way, even though the weather has been horrendous over here in the UK.
Which doesn't help the Disney blues in any way, shape or form.
Although I did see online today that apparently Florida on the 25th of January is going to be hitting around 2 degrees when they wake up, which is just mind-blowing.
Did make me feel a bit better about our 9 degrees today.
I know, it was basically spring for us. So it's been a little while since we recorded an episode about our March 2024 trip, and we covered all of the travel aspects. So the flights that we took to get to Florida, we actually flew into Tampa for the very first time, talking about car hire when we were actually out there and where we went with the car and whether we would recommend car hire, and actually just traveling with a baby, because obviously now we are traveling as a family of 4 with Noah. So if you haven't already, head on back a couple of episodes and you will see the travelling episode regarding 2024 Walt Disney World. Today, we're going to cover all the aspects of when we were actually over in Walt Disney World, such as how Walt Disney World went with a baby, and also how it was for Penny now that she's a couple of years older from the first time we took her in 2022.
It's a bit of a game changer having an extra one in tow, isn't it? So we thought we'd just give our thoughts on how it went from going from a 3 to a 4 and the differences on having a baby to a toddler.
Yeah, absolutely. So we popped over to Walt Disney World in 2022. Penny was just shy of 3 years old.
Yeah.
This time she was 4 and she had her 5th birthday out there. Noah was
7 months old.
7 months old. So we headed out there before his first birthday.
That makes it sound absolutely balmy taking a 7-month-old to Disney.
It really does. And as I was going to say, you can go online and you can see in the comments and all the socials of whether or not people recommend taking a baby, taking someone before 1 year old, when's the right time to take your child to Walt Disney World. And a bit of a disclaimer before we get into our thoughts with taking Noah, it's different for everyone.
Every child is different. We hit a bit of a sweet spot with Noah. For us, he was the perfect age because he could still sit up and interact, but he wasn't on the move. So we didn't have to worry about entertaining him out of the pram, and he was quite happy to be in a carrier. If we'd have left it quite possibly even 2 months, it would have been a very different holiday because he was crawling. He wanted to be sat up and out of the pram and moving and doing everything that Penny was. So we definitely hit a bit of a sweet spot with 7 months.
Yeah, and from my perspective, it depends on how you want to Walt Disney World, how your holidays are catered, what you intend to get out of your Disney holiday. If you want to cram in every attraction, every show, you want to get there from rope drop, you want to stay there until park closure, and you've got a baby in tow,
it's hard.
It's going to be difficult. It's manageable. People do it, and hats off to people who do it, but that's not the way that we personally took our trip this time with the kiddos in tow. It's different for every person and every family that goes out there.
We'd always planned that this was going to be a really relaxed holiday in the sense that we were going to pick one thing that we wanted to do that day so we could take it off, and everything else was just what we could manage to fit in, wasn't it?
Definitely.
We didn't put any pressure on ourselves. It was basically making sure we did one ride that someone wanted to do, we ate the food we wanted, we managed to get the naps in that we wanted to for Noah so that he was happy and all the rest of us were happy, and we still had a good day.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's a difficult topic because when you're trying to research this online, as we did before heading off to Walt Disney World,
Not many people give you their thoughts.
and if they do, it's just their personal opinion for experiences that they've had with their children. So I guess we're just going to give our sort of thoughts and opinions of how it worked for us, but by no means use our opinions and our thoughts as this is the marker of what our Walt Disney World holiday is going to be with our kiddo, because as we all know as parents, every kiddo is different.
And every day is different.
Absolutely.
And also, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Some days were more difficult than others.
Definitely.
But it wouldn't be a Disney holiday if you didn't have a day where someone has a tantrum and cries.
Okay, you're heading to a place where there's sensory overload, there's humidity that us Brits aren't used to, and especially baby Brits who aren't necessarily used to it in their tiny life so far. So
there was a lot of people when we went, wasn't there?
And you've got to expect crowds as well. So let's get into it. Speaking of sleep and speaking of naps, let's start with the sleep patterns. First of all, obviously, when you get there, you've got jet lag. How did you feel Noah handled the jet lag?
I actually didn't think he was bad as I thought he was going to be. And I don't know if that's because we almost just jumped straight in onto their time zone, didn't we? Because like when we landed, it was 5 o'clock. I think by the time we got to the car and that, it was like 6, half 6, wasn't it? So we didn't get to the hotel until 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it was about that.
And he napped in the car, and then we effectively woke him up to get to the room, you know, get the essentials out that you kind of need for that night in the morning, and then went and got food, didn't we? Because obviously we hadn't eaten since the plane.
Yeah.
So we almost forced his and also Penny's hands by keeping them up to have food and then going to bed. So I don't think we went to bed until like 10 o'clock that first night, did we? Which sounds mad when you've got 2 kids, and so many people will be like, oh my god, 10 o'clock American time, which bearing in mind is 3 o'clock in the morning UK time.
Yeah.
But they did really well, and we all woke up, like 8 o'clock the next morning? And none of us really suffered that badly the next day or so after that, did we? Noah's naps were obviously a little bit out, because he was a bit knackered. I think Penny napped the first 2 days, didn't she, from what I remember?
Yeah.
Because we went back and had a bit of a chill out, didn't we?
Yeah.
And obviously we were early to bed for a few days, but it didn't really scupper plans like that, did it? No one really was like aggy with it.
No, definitely not. I think that was a key factor of getting onto the time zone, was being able to stay up till around 10 o'clock and have a night's sleep that at that time was essentially normal to what we would have back here.
I think the excitement kind of kicks in a bit as well, doesn't it? Because everyone's on a bit of adrenaline for it. But no, they did really well. I was surprised. We were expecting 2 days of grumpiness between all of us, to be honest, naturally. I think because we kind of threw in the towel and expected it to be like that. We hadn't really set any major plans, did we?
No, day one we opted for doing something off-site because we had the car, as we mentioned in the travelling episode. We had the car for a few days, so we did a little bit off-site. We went to Walmart and got groceries and made sure that we were stocked up, and then we went to Blizzard Beach because it was the last day that Blizzard Beach was going to be open until Typhoon Lagoon season started kicking in. So we wanted to hit Blizzard Beach, but actually having that water park on the first day was a nice chilled way to get into the holiday instead of jumping into, say, like a Magic Kingdom and having that sensory overload when the kiddos might have been a little bit tired. And I know now they've got the perk, actually, if you head to Walt Disney World, you're staying on Disney property, they give you the option to utilise a water park on your check-in day.
Yeah, which obviously doesn't work for us Brits if we're on a like later flight. But the ones that are getting like their 8, 9 o'clock in the morning flight, they're getting a 1 o'clock. It's a great option to have because it just makes it so much more chilled out.
Definitely. And as far as sleep schedules are concerned, throughout the holiday, it's a little bit hit and miss. It depends on how taxing the day or the evening before was done. Obviously, if we were looking to stay up for one of the nighttime spectaculars, your Phantasmics, your Happily Ever Afters, we made the day a lot more chilled than, say, like a normal park day. Made sure that they had a nap, or especially Noah had a nap in the afternoon, so he was ready to go for the evening and stay out that little bit longer. And then the morning after, We made sure that was nice and relaxed, even though we did go to parks days after going to watch fireworks. We just made sure that start was that little bit later to give everyone a little bit more time to get into the day, get yourself ready, instead of just getting up and getting straight back on it.
For all of our sanity more than anything. Because for anyone that's got kids, no matter how many you've got, you always know that trying to wake them up early after a late night the night before is just, it's not even worth your energy. It's just not going to happen. And I appreciate people listening to this will probably say, well, you've got early entry that you need to try and make the use of. Personally, we just found it's just not worth the effort of trying to get them out of the room by 7 o'clock in the morning for early entry, because our kids don't do well with being rushed in the morning, for one, and then it just kind of ruined the rest of the day. We tried it, didn't we, in 22 when we were at Penny, and it just ended in tantrums.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't worth it for us.
And I remember one day we went to Magic Kingdom. I think it was the second day that we were out there, and we got to like probably about 10 o'clock in mid-morning, and you could tell the kiddos were a little bit tired, a little bit drained, still trying to get over the jet lag. And we essentially headed to Gaston's, and the lifesaver for that morning was Gaston's cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
Don't when you're at home, certainly wouldn't recommend this, but when you're on holiday, get a sugar fix.
The sugar fix hit massively, didn't it?
And there's not many tastier sugar fix than that Gaston cinnamon roll. That is definitely a recommendation for anyone heading out there.
Probably one of my favourite snacks on the whole holiday, to be honest.
Don't advocate giving kids sugar for the sake of your holiday or keeping them awake, but it certainly worked that day for us.
I think our issue as well not an issue, but one of the minors was that Noah didn't want to nap in the buggy, did he?
No.
So we bought a City Jogger double stroller.
Yeah. We
bought it at home. It was just a cheap one. It was cheaper for us to buy a second-hand one. You know, it's pretty well loved, but it did the job because we were only buying it for the 2 weeks. But we bought it and took it with us so that we had it for the airport, and then the whole 2 weeks, and then we could take it home if we wanted to, or, you know, if we didn't want to take it home, we could either gift it or try and, you know, sell it on out there. Anyway, by the way, he wasn't particularly fond of napping in it, so he actually ended up doing most of his naps in a carrier.
Yeah.
Which is a blessing and a curse, because it meant that actually if he napped in the carrier, we could go and do the shows. So most of the shows we did when he was either napping in a carrier or was quite happy sat in the carrier, wasn't he?
Yeah.
We managed to put him in the buggy a couple times. I think I can probably count on one hand how many times he slept in the buggy. But having the double buggy was a bit of a lifesaver, because obviously Penny got knackered. So for the first 3 or 4 days, actually, Penny probably spent half of her time, we were walking between rides and shows and food and all of that, probably sat in the buggy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people listening to this will go, you let your 4/5-year-old sit in a buggy. But people that have been before will know Disney tired hits different.
It really does.
And I think we worked out that most days we were probably walking about 6-7 miles in a day.
Yeah, definitely.
And on little legs, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I've spoken to people who've gone out there with 4 or 5-year-olds, and they said, look, they didn't touch the buggy. There was so much to do, so much to see, and the excitement was there that it carried them through. But honestly, having that double stroller was such a blessing in disguise. It's little things like the Maharaja trek in Animal Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Like, both of them wanted to be out of the buggy for a decent amount of that because you're looking at animals, etc. But there got a point when you were walking through the heat of Animal Kingdom where both of them was like, do you know what, I could probably see this from the stroller. Both of us can sit back and chill out and enjoy it from where they are. And just like the navigation from ride to ride, or from the bus to the entrance and stuff like that, having them both have the ability to sit down in the stroller meant as parents there was less to worry about, and where's the child running off to, one's got to go one way, one's got to go the other, you've got to get your bags ready for security and so on and so forth, you've got your hands free to be able to do it. The two things that I think would be a high recommendation for any family with multiple kids, and especially one that's a baby, is that double stroller, and as you mentioned, a baby carrier.
Yeah, we had the Ergo Baby. I think it's the Omni 360 we took. So it's meant to be the one that, is a bit more airy. Let's be honest, when you're in 25-30 degree heat, no baby carrier is going to stop you from sweating. It just doesn't work like that in life. But he loved it because it was just super comfy. I loved it because actually it didn't make my back break. We walked miles in that thing around Disney, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And yeah, it was just a bit of a godsend.
Yeah.
From ride queues to rides to bus trips to shows, like he saw a variety of Disney in a carrier.
Yeah, and as long as you've got fans and you've got your cooling towels, and you obviously take them out from time to time to cool yourself down as well as the baby as well. It actually works really, really well. Just again, the navigation when you've got a baby who isn't walking or isn't on the move, it's such a blessing in disguise. And when you do want to sit down for a show, or you do want them to just be stationary, so you don't necessarily need to worry about where they want to go if they are slightly on the move, just having them utilised on you saves a lot of stress.
Massively.
So yeah, definitely, if you are considering baby carriers and you think to yourself, am I going to get too hot? Is it a good idea? As you said, Noah wanted to nap the majority of the time in the baby carrier when he got tired anyway, so it was close to either mum or dad. There was a moment actually in Hollywood Studios that we were in the queue for Toy Story Mania, and it was a long queue. I think it ended up being like 80 minutes. That was the full full queue.
Me and Penny waited for 70 minutes for that, which I do not recommend for Toy Story Mania.
We got I don't know, maybe half an hour in, so we're halfway through this queue, and Noah was like, do you know what? I'm tired, I'm cranky, I don't want to be in this queue full of sensory overload with everything that you can see on the walls and the awesome sort of design element of that queue. So me and him dipped out. I popped him in the carrier and took a stroll around Batu. There's a lot of shaded areas and little nooks that you can go around Batu to keep yourself cool. I got stopped by a stormtrooper who was like, what cargo are you carrying there, sir? And I was like, shh, it's actually a baby and the baby's napping at the minute. And he swiftly moved on. So, anyone trying to stay away from the First Order, just say you're carrying a baby. And that seems to work.
Yeah, he kicked off big time, didn't they?
I got a couple of cool photos in front of the Millennium Falcon as well, with him just napping as well, with like saying quiet and stuff like that, which we'll share on our Instagram page. I would swear by having the carrier with you just to have that extra bit of stability and also to get your hands free.
Just a side note, if you can't find a double buggy in the UK second hand, because some of them are pretty pricey, there are 2 or 3 websites that do stroller rentals in Disney, and we were very close to doing one of those.
Yeah.
It was just because we found one that was in good nick and was cheap, and it meant we had it in the airport, which is why we bought one.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously they're bulky, they take up a lot of room in your car. It was Tetris for us trying to get suitcases and a double buggy.
Yes, it was.
In the car with 2 kids to the airport, because for everyone that doesn't know, obviously we drive from Devon to Heathrow. So a lot of people rent one because then you don't have to worry. But so yeah, there are a few stroller rental companies that they're not bad prices. I think we found some and they were maybe like $15-20 a day.
Yeah.
Which is half price of Disney, and they're comfy.
Yeah.
And you have them all the time. So yeah.
We basically looked at it and we saw some of these rental things, and I think it was working out the best sort of price with a couple of deals was around 150, 160 quid, which looking at it isn't a huge expense daily when you're looking at it that way with the deals. But actually the double stroller that we found second hand on Facebook Marketplace was 130 quid, I think it was.
Yeah, we paid 130, and for us it was just easier because then we had it the whole way through the airport, UK side and then Tampa side, because obviously getting through Tampa airport when we didn't know where we were going sounded like chaos with either just a single stroller or just a carrier.
So yeah, if you're going to take 2 lifesavers, the baby carrier and a double stroller for multiple kids in the family is definitely the way to go. Sticking on the subject of things to utilise out there when you do have the baby in tow, How did you find the baby care centres? Because this was the first time that we used them.
Yeah, we'd never even looked in them before, did we?
I always knew where the Magic Kingdom one was. Like when you we go past, obviously, Main Street USA, and you can see it there on the side, walking towards Adventureland. But never been in one.
And I think there's a lack of understanding of what's in a baby care centre, because I never knew that baby care centres are actually technically up until like preschool age.
Yeah.
So like they have like mini toilets in there, they have a little breakout area with like a TV and like mini tables and chairs where kids can go and just chill out in the aircon. They have food supplies. They have nappies, so if you forget nappies for your toddler or your baby, wipes, bags.
Don't forget the baby merchandise that you can also buy, because of course you might want to buy something while in the day care centre.
Yeah, that was balmy, to be fair.
We did buy a cool grow. We didn't actually get it in the baby care centre, but that's the first place I saw it where it said first Walt Disney trip.
Yeah,
we
it was
had to
cute.
pick that up.
It's the most unlikely place to buy merchandise probably in the whole of Disney. Let's be honest.
Apart from nappies and
medicine they had in there, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like they had Colpol in there if you needed it.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by it actually, and I don't think Disney advertises it well enough that it's not just for babies.
Yeah, like when you were in there changing Noah, Penny and I sat down in this is in the Magic Kingdom one. When you first walk in there, there's a nice seated area, which is sort of like in a theatre mode, and we were watching Alice in Wonderland.
Because I went into a feed, didn't I, in that one? Yeah. It was a really nice one.
It was really nice, actually. I think out of the ones that I saw personally, and you had more visits than I did, but of the ones that we utilised, Magic Kingdom's definitely the one with the most theming.
We didn't hugely utilise them, if I'm brutally honest, because the positioning of them isn't great. That's my only thing with the baby care centres, is they're not positioned great. So the Magic Kingdom one is next to
Crystal Palace.
Yes, tucked away in the corner, which is probably the most central one out of all of them. Yeah. Epcot was in
the Odyssey building.
I can never remember the names of them, so I'm glad you do. Animal Kingdom was tucked away next to where's the first aid centre in Animal Kingdom?
Yeah, as soon as you walk in.
It's like right by the entrance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which was just an absolute pain to get to if you're in the middle by the tree. And Hollywood Studios, again, was right by the entrance.
Yeah.
Which we never used. So we never used the Animal Kingdom one, and we never used Hollywood Studios.
The Hollywood Studios one is next to where there used to be like the vintage Hollywood signs and merchandise, the artwork, etc. on that left-hand side when you're walking in, next to Crossroads.
We used Epcot for a feed because it was a really hot day that day.
Yeah.
So we went in and did a feed and a change. FYI, their changing tables in the baby care centre are epic. They're fully padded. And when I say fully padded, obviously the bit that you lay them down in, but also the sides and the top and bottom are completely padded. So if you've got a roller, you don't have to worry about any bumps. And I thought that was great. And they do, I'm not really selling it when I say this, they've got like the big rolls of like paper to go over the top, like sanitising paper.
Yeah.
So you just roll that out after you've finished for like the next person. So obviously you don't need to worry about any wet wipe residue or anything because it's just on there on the paper.
Like cross contamination.
Yeah, it's all sanitary. But there are like 3 or 4 cast members in there at all times that are constantly like clearing up if needs be, or like sanitising, wiping down, which was really good. So yeah, we used the Epcot one for a feed. Their feeding room isn't great, but it's not. It's from what I've seen from all the feeding rooms, they're very like dim light, very calm, plenty of seating, nice little table in the middle. So if you're expressing.
Disney music.
I don't think Epcot did.
We had obviously the Alice in Wonderland film going on in the Magic Kingdom one, but they didn't have that in the Epcot one, did they?
No, and I don't think there was any music. But it's very quiet.
Which is nice. If obviously
it was nice and calm.
Like to get baby to sleep.
Yeah, lovely and calm. And Epcot, from what I remember, had nice like rocking chairs that you sit in and feed, which was really nice. And Magic Kingdom we only used the once as well. For a feed and a change. We got caught in the rain, didn't we? So we went there.
It's one of those things that I guess it's great that it's there if it's necessary and if you need it.
And if you're, I wouldn't go out of your way to use it because obviously there are changing tables in the toilets in every toilet station you go to.
And that's also the male and female.
I was just going to mention that.
I did a couple of changes. The Tangled one in Magic Kingdom had one as soon as you walked through the door. There's a changing table there. So, and even the water parks, the male and female changing rooms in the water parks, every one of them had a changing table in the males as well. So that's always handy to have.
Just remember they're not padded, so you will need a changing mat if you are going into those.
Yeah, some of them are quite hard actually.
And if you've got a roller, they're not great. But obviously we didn't have that issue this time.
For a quick change, it's not too bad.
But yeah, I was impressed by the baby care centre. Just not the positioning, but the amenities were really good when we were in there.
How did you find feeding in public in Disney parks in a place which is, full of people? How did you find it personally in a different country, different cultures, to go and feed? Because obviously you were breastfeeding there at the time.
So we didn't do formula feeding out there. We did breastfeeding. Like we said, I only used the baby care centre once in each park, and by that I mean literally we used it twice.
Yeah.
I was a bit worried about feeding going out there because I know the American culture is very different about public feeding compared to the British culture. Actually, there was nothing to worry about. Either I was overthinking it, but I didn't feel like anyone even batted an eyelid.
No.
Anywhere. Obviously, we're not doing it obvious. I'm not an obvious person, if anyone knows me.
You're not feeding right in the middle of Walt and Mickey's statue where everyone's trying to take a picture.
No. So, you pick a seat kind of out the way, or you turn your back to people so, you're not throwing your feeding in their face. But there was one point, this is the point that stands out for me, when we went to watch the parade in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And we were sat in the hub on the left side, up in front of Casey's Corner, and Noah absolutely lost it, didn't he?
Yeah.
But because it was the parade, it was manic, wasn't it? So all of the little pavements were full, and there was nowhere that I could literally go to get out of it to feed because everyone was waiting for the parade. It was literally coming around the hub at that point, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
So I just sat myself in the corner in the hub, under the trees, on the floor. I'm not worried about doing that. And discreetly just fed him. No one batted an eyelid. It wasn't a big issue. If baby needs a feed, baby needs a feed.
And you think of that sort of moment, in your mind, I assume, obviously, you're thinking, I've got to do this in front of all these people. But obviously all these people are there for a reason. They're all looking for this parade and for the floats that are coming down Main Street. So they're not necessarily looking directly at you. They're focused on someone who is feeding on the hub grass. They're obviously looking at the entertainment which is up in the sky. So actually it probably was pretty discreet given that there were so many people around.
If you're worried about going to Disney and breastfeeding a baby, don't be. Because A, no one cares. B, your baby needs to eat regardless. And C, there's plenty of places you can go if you're not comfortable with feeding in public, to be discreet and be comfortable in yourself.
Look out for the chilled areas in parks. Speaking of Magic Kingdom, the Storybook Circus area at the back where Pete's Silly Sideshow is, there's a real nice calm area back there for seating. It's a little bit where the Casey Jr. splash pad is.
Yeah.
Just up from there, there's like a little space for eating. There's restrooms there as well. And there's a nice little seated area. There's not much going on. There's just a load of seats there, and it's obviously themed like the circus. But actually, it's a really good place to top up water bottles. And if you do have children, that's a fab place to go and chill out. Let them run off a little bit of steam, and also a good place to feed.
They were really nice comfy chairs as well, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
And they've got a water fountain in that tent bit as well.
Yeah.
That was a good shout, actually.
Hollywood Studios is more of a difficult one because it's obviously a condensed park, and there's not too many places that you could go and do it. But even in a place like Hollywood Studios, there's so many little nooks with shades that you could go and sit down discreetly and go for a feed. There was one feed you did which was down in Animator's Courtyard. Now, obviously, Animation Courtyard isn't necessarily utilised that much at the minute. We've obviously got Disney Junior Dance Party, which, jumping onto attractions, is definitely a recommendation for a baby and obviously someone of Penny's age 4 and 5. But around that corner where the Art of Animation was and now where the launch bay is, there's a little seated area around the back of where the Little Mermaid station is. They've got some benches there. It's next to a restroom. You can do a change there. You can do a feed.
I think I was more worried about shade than feeding in public, if I'm honest.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, if you are heading out there and you're a little bit concerned regarding the culture and the acceptance of feeding out there, and whether or not there are places aplenty, and there's not anything to worry about. As you said, baby's got to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't be worried at all. I was very pleasantly surprised. And actually, there was even a few people that came up and said, well done. Which you don't get very often in this country. You maybe get a little, smile from a mum that's going through the same thing, which always helps.
Another good place to go for a snooze or a feed is actually some of the theatres, like Carousel Progress. I love that attraction, but I appreciate it's probably not the most entertaining for some kids. And we went in there to utilise the aircon, and Noah had a nap in there as well. So actually, that's a good nap spot.
I think Noah napped in every theatre we went in.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how you can nap through Carousel Progress because I'm always glued to it as a massive fan of it. But yeah, I appreciate it. Baby's probably not going to enjoy it just as much as some of us Disney adults. So
Frozen was the most random one he slept through. How you sleep through that, I have no clue, because it's loud.
It was loud.
He slept the whole way through it, didn't he?
But again, I guess it's dark and it's got a bit of aircon, so great place to nap. And that transitions us nicely into the type of attractions we'd recommend for babies.
Oof. There's a long list. How long you got, guys?
We'll try and condense it as much as we can, but essentially, if you are worried about, is my baby gonna enjoy a Walt Disney World holiday? Are they going to be old enough? Are they going to remember it? And so on and so forth. There is so much to do in Walt Disney World throughout the parks, the water parks, and outside of the parks, that your baby will have a fab time. If they don't remember it, make sure you capture all those memories on a phone, or if you're a vlogger, on whatever camera equipment you've got, and they'll appreciate it when they're older. But the memories we made for you as parents when you get out there with your baby.
If anyone tells you, don't go to Disney with a baby, it's a waste of money, ignore them.
It is not a waste of money.
It's not a waste of money.
First of all, they're free to get in. Second
of all, when you see their face with a character, it's like the best thing in the world.
Definitely, hands down. And I've said it before, I've said it on another podcast like the Disload, Brit's Guide. It will go down as my favourite Walt Disney World trip, because it was that trip where we first went as a family of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going with a baby, there will be tantrums, there will be tiredness, there will be elements of stress. But the moment you see your baby smiling at Mickey Mouse, or you see your baby smiling at the Cinderella Castle, or the fireworks, or a Disney parade, or dancing on the hub grass if they can dance and walk around, at that moment you'll think, those Disney dollars are worth it.
The best piece of advice I can give is tantrums in Disney are no different to tantrums at home.
No.
Where would you rather have the tantrum to?
Yeah. You're going to get over a lot quicker when you're in a Disney park, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right, attractions for babies. The one that I'll condense now, because I don't think there's a bad one and I wouldn't recommend one over the other, but get on as many boat rides as you possibly can through the Disney parks with a baby.
Even the ones that have got slight drops?
Yeah, even a slight drop, yeah. But all of them are, from Grand Fiesta Tour to Small World to the Navi River Journey, all of them have so much to see and do. The music, the visuals, the lighting, the sensory that a baby will get. I'll never forget Noah's face, and we've put a short actually on our YouTube channel of the Grand Fiesta Tour journey.
He loved it.
Noah lit up. I think we ended up doing it about 8 times.
Yeah, for the whole 2 weeks we did it 8 times. One day was 3 times in one go because there was no queue. Both of them loved it.
Definitely recommend the boat rides. You have to get on the boat rides. Anyway, Living with the Land, again. Living with the Land has my heart as an OG Disney fan. I love it. I know it's a Marmite attraction for most people when they go to Epcot. The majority of people would be like, Cosmic Rewind, whereas I'm like, woo, Living with the Land. But actually, that's another great one for little ones to jump on. It may be a little bit more educational than some, but it's another boat ride.
We love a boat ride in this family.
Definitely jump on those boat rides. As mentioned previously, Disney Junior Dance Party.
Yeah.
For us, with Noah being not on the move, but just, being able to sit upright at that age, plunked him down. Penny could dance to our heart's content to all of the Disney Junior tracks behind him, and he was there, sat down, clapping along and bobbing along to it as well. I think that's a great show for any age as a child.
I agree. Disney Dance Party was probably one of the best ones to see both of them jumping around to. I say jumping. No, it wasn't jumping. He was kicking his legs. But you get the impression.
He was 7 months jumping and dancing as much as a 7-month can do at that point.
In his mind, he was jumping.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to Animation Courtyard, just to digress a little bit, because that's obviously going to be refurbished at some point. Like, Launch Bay will only house Star Wars for so long, and
I mean, you'd like to think so. It's an empty space. It's a waste.
And I just hope that they keep some iteration of Disney Junior Dance Party or a Disney Junior option, either in Animation Courtyard or somewhere in Hollywood Studios, to keep there a attraction or a show for that sort of age group.
Well, they must be, because they've put all this money into Little Mermaid, haven't they? And that's coming back this year.
Yeah, true.
So there's no way that I get the impression that it will still be for little kids mainly.
We know that Bluey is coming to the Disney parks this year, so it will be very interesting to see where Bluey lands and whether it is going to be sort of Animation Courtyard area.
Because is there a whole building next to Little Mermaid that's empty?
That used to be the gift shop. When you used to finish the show, you used to filter out into a gift shop there.
Oh,
but I don't know what's happening in that building, whether that becomes a Bluey meet and greet, because it was a big building.
Unless that just reopens when the show opens again.
Maybe. And obviously Little Mermaid, there's animation series on Disney Junior of Little Mermaid, so maybe they make that area into like a Disney Junior area. I don't know, but definitely if you're going over there with kids from, well, there was a variety of ages, isn't there? I mean,
at least up to 10, I would say.
Yeah, then definitely hit the Disney Junior Dance Party, especially with a baby. Speaking of Little Mermaid, the rides like the Journey of Little Mermaid in Magic Kingdom, the Seas with Nemo and Epcot, and anything that's a story-related dark ride.
I think they're classed as omni-movers, aren't they?
Could be, yeah. Wow, look at you.
I feel very posh with that.
Theme park Wikipedia over here.
Thank you.
Those sort of rides, you know the type of rides we're talking about, where they take you for a scene. You could also add in some of the rides in Fantasyland as well, like the Winnie the Pooh ride.
Yeah, anything that's like a car ride as such.
In a vehicle.
Like a ride through story.
Yeah, any of those rides is a recommendation with a baby.
Yeah, he loved them all. He could get on them all easily.
Again, the Little Mermaid and Nemo, I mean, the way we're selling it actually is Noah's a big fan of underwater sensory sort of stuff. And again, there's so much sensory in, say, the Journey of Little Mermaid's the one that sticks out, with obviously all of the animatronics and the music and the lighting. Like, that's a fab one to go on as a baby.
Anything sensory, it was just a win, wasn't it?
Definitely.
But then there's rides like Dumbo that we did, and the Magic Carpets that we did.
Yes.
Triceratops Spin, R.I.P.
It really is a shame about Chester and Hester's, because Triceratops Spin for me was, I mentioned it on our episode with Luke when we did a deep dive into the March trips not too long ago. Triceratops Spin has a special place in my heart because of this recent visit, because we closed down Animal Kingdom being on that. We were the only people in Chester's and Hester's going on that.
We did it 5 times, didn't we? Back to back, because there was no queue, and we literally did the last ride of that night, didn't we?
And Noah and Penny were just super excited on those rides.
They loved it.
So those sort of rides as well are a definite recommendation for those kiddos who enjoy the Dumbo style rides.
ones that people probably won't think of that you could do with a kid are ones like Toy Story Mania.
Yes.
So we did do Toy Story Mania with Noah. He was in the carrier on my front, so forward facing, and he absolutely loved it. I even put a little pair of glasses on him so he could see everything, so it wasn't just a blurry mess for him. He loved it. He was holding on to the, little pulley machine while I did the pulling. Loved it.
And of course, Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Giving them a little gun to just point and shoot, even if they're hitting the trigger or not, is still a real fun one to go on with little ones.
Well, that one's even better because you spin around.
Exactly, yes.
Which, is just a win-win.
I suppose we better mention the teacups as well if he's talking to spinning.
Yeah, I think we went a bit fast, didn't we? Because between him and Penny, their eyes were going for it, weren't they? Like they were dizzy.
But another great one to go on with little ones. They love. Noah certainly loved it.
As most people know, the Bugs Life show is always a bit hit and miss between people. It's a Marmite show. It was a Marmite show in our household. Penny was not a fan. Noah didn't really know what to make of it either. Probably the spiders coming from the ceiling was not the greatest part for either of them.
Which is interesting now because Noah's a massive Incy Wincy Spider fan, so
yeah,
maybe that's just like ingrained in his mind from that trip.
January 25th, 2025, he is spider obsessed. People thinking about the safari, whether you can go on with a baby, do it. They love it. Also, quick tip for people that go on the safari, you can ask for the back row.
Yes.
People think, I'm not going to ask for the back row, I'm just going to wait till what I've been given. No, ask. They'll just say yes or no. And if they say yes, they'll probably just say, stand to the side and you can go to the back row on the next one. It will never be more than 5 minutes and you will get effectively 180 views of the savannah then.
Yeah, definitely. If you're one for taking wildlife photos or content for vlogs or whatever like that, the back row on Kilimanjaros is definitely the way to go.
And it was better with kids. Because if you miss anything from out the sides, just look out the back.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great tip.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
One thing we do need to mention for all the DVC members that are listening, the DVC Members Lounge, that's in Epcot and soon to be coming to Magic Kingdom in Frontierland.
And the one in Disney Springs, which we didn't try out, but apparently is meant to be very good too.
And that as well, utilise them.
Mm-hmm.
You have that benefit if you're a direct member. That's a great place to just get away from all of the sensory, get away from the crowds, go in there, have a snack, go in there, have a drink. Could be a good place for a feed.
Mm-hmm. We did a feed in there.
And just take a few moments to get away from the excitement.
We did a nice little half-hour pit stop, didn't we? And had a drink, had a cool down, had a chill. They've got interactive tabletops.
Yeah, like an interactive screen on a table.
Penny sat there for quarter of an hour, did some colouring. There's a TV with some cartoons, freestyle machines.
Noah rolled around on the floor for a bit, but they were happy for him to do so.
Yeah, it was utilise it. If you guys can, make the most of it.
Hopefully there will be more DVC lounges to come. I assume the long-term vision, I guess, is to have a DVC lounge in each park, and as DVC members, we certainly appreciate it.
It was much needed.
Right, moving away from baby talk, how did you find 2024 Penny at 4/5 years old compared to 2022 Penny, who obviously was 2 coming on 3? How was the age variation from this trip to last?
So the big difference is confidence.
Yes.
So much more confident when it came to like the characters. Bearing in mind, Feb 22 when we went, we were just coming out of COVID restrictions in Florida.
Yeah.
So Disney was still quite restricted on like character meet and greets in the sense that you couldn't hug them. I don't even believe they were doing autographs at that point because you weren't allowed to swap pens.
No.
Compared to this time where obviously you could hug. She had a first autograph book. Meet and greets were far more interactive. Chip and Dale come to mind. First day. We probably spent a good 5 minutes with them.
Yeah.
Because they're just super interactive.
Yeah, I've said routinely on other podcasts, and I mentioned it on the March Awards with Luke, that Chip and Dale meet and greet in Tomorrowland, hands down the best character meet and greet we had.
Chip and Dale never failed to be the best meet and greet. because Chip and Dale in Donald's Dino Bash, R.I.P., were also epic.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They just play off each other really well. And when you've got kids as well interacting with them, it's just fantastic. And Penny lit up when they pretended to go to sleep, because Noah was asleep in the carrier, wasn't he? So they pretended to go to sleep as well, and
she woke him up.
Penny woke him up, and they were startled and played like they were just waking themselves up, and Penny thought it was absolutely hilarious.
And the autographing gives them something to look forward to. So every morning we pack it in her bag so that she had it for the day, and she'd run to the bag, get her pen and her autograph book out, and go up to the characters and ask them for an autograph. It just gave her good confidence, really.
It's also a conversation starter for the child as well.
Because it can be awkward. I mean, they don't say anything, so making conversation with characters that don't say anything is awkward.
Yeah.
But she did amazing.
Yeah.
That was really nice to see, because she lit up when she got all their autographs, didn't she? And at the end of the day, we'd sit down and go through all the autographs we've got. It was just very cute, wasn't it? It
was, yeah. Everyone says it in the Disney community, and it's true. Cast members are the magic, and characters are the magic as well. It's a staple of being in a Disney park, isn't it? It's what sets them above the rest.
Yeah, massively. The other things was probably rides. So we did some bigger rides this time.
We did.
Because she's a bit taller. Penny's not the most confident when it comes to rides. She's a bit of a worrier, isn't she? So getting her on rides can be a bit tricky, but she did amazing this holiday. We always use the mantra, don't we? Just try it once.
Yes.
If you don't like it, you don't ever have to do it ever again.
Exactly.
And most things that she tried once, she wanted to go back and do again.
Definitely, yeah.
So she did amazing with that, didn't she? She
did go on Barnstormer for the first time.
She did. That one won't be repeated.
If anyone does have 2 or 3 minutes, head over to Devonshire's YouTube. We've got POV footage of Penny on Barnstormer, and heading up, she was so excited, and as soon as we started heading down, less excitement.
Poor gal did not expect it to be that rickety.
Luckily, it's over in 20 seconds. And actually, in 2022, she went on Slinky Dog, which is a much smoother roller coaster, a lot larger roller coaster, but she enjoyed that at that age. I think getting that a little bit older, she might have a little bit more apprehension because she understands it a little bit more.
We didn't do Slinky this time, did we? And I think we probably should have, because I think she would have really enjoyed it again. We didn't do it mainly because it was a long queue, and we didn't pay for lightning lanes.
It was round.
But she did try Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah, she loved that.
Mainly because she thought it was an Omnimover.
Yes.
And we didn't tell her any different. Until I went on with her. And if you've not met me before, I'm Lauren, and I'm not very confident on roller coasters.
No.
And we got in the queue, and we got given the front row. And for everyone that knows me, the front row isn't my favourite. So having to put on a brave face in the front row of a roller coaster that I remember being quite scared on last time was quite difficult. And she screamed a lot. So we basically said, when we got in the roller coaster, that we were going to have a screaming match and see who could scream the loudest, because that meant that you really enjoyed it. And I think she actually won.
And that actually worked out really well for me, because obviously I was looking after Noah. I didn't know when you were going to be on this ride. So we stood just on the side of it, just watching all of these carts come down, making sure we could try and catch you to give you a wave, maybe get a picture. And then just out of the distance, I started hearing familiar screams. And I was like, don't worry, Noah. Mummy and Penny's on their way.
And sure enough, there we came. Around the corner.
There you were.
But she really loved that ride. Her main reason for going on it is because she wanted to see the Seven Dwarfs in the mine, and she wanted to see the witch at the end, didn't she?
Yeah, she was really into Snow White at that moment, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So it was good that we got her on that ride.
And I'm glad I got her on it, because the mine in the middle is incredible. And she did say she'd go on it again afterwards. So, word of warning to everyone that's got kids that aren't sure on roller coasters: don't do the old ones. They're too rickety and it will put them off. Do the new ones that are smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. Away from the thrill rides, one thing that has to be utilised whenever we go anywhere, really, with Penny, is a play park. And there are some cool play areas in Disney parks alongside all the rides and attractions.
We didn't utilise them at all in 22. This time we utilised the play area pretty much every day.
Yeah, definitely. And Animal Kingdom, the great news about Animal Kingdom is that although Chester and Hester's is no more, the Boneyard is staying for now at least.
And it's epic. It was great. I don't know why we'd never been in there in 22 because it was awesome.
Yeah, loads of slides, loads of places to roam, loads of little caves and that just to find like dinosaur bones. Penny loved it.
They have a bit where you go across a bridge, actually across the walk, like you go over the walkway into Dino Land, and there's a whole dino dig section where you effectively brush away the sand to find the bones, and it was awesome. I was in my element.
You do love a dino.
I do love dinosaurs. It was very good. I was well impressed.
And of course there's a play area in the queue for Dumbo.
Yeah, we utilised that again this time.
That's a great little spot, especially if there's a massive queue. We got quite lucky on the Dumbo queue that actually there wasn't a huge wait, but we still jumped in just to have a little run around.
I think that was a walk-on when we went on Dumbo, wasn't it? I don't think we queued at all for Dumbo.
No, but in 2022 there was a significant queue, wasn't there? So it was a good chance for a 2-3-year-old who didn't want to queue to just jump out and run off a little bit of steam before jumping back in the queue. So definitely worth heading into the Dumbo play area.
The new one we tried this time was on the exit of Mission Space, wasn't it?
Yes.
And we'd only found out about this because of vlogs we'd watched on YouTube. That's a good little play area for kids that are happy climbing. It's effectively like tunnels.
Yeah. Ball pits.
Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed it. She enjoyed it. Good aircon in there as well.
And don't feel like you necessarily need to go on Mission Space to go into the play area. You can just go around the exit, go into the shop, and it's in the back of the shop there.
Yeah, just go past Space 220 and it's through there, isn't it?
Yeah, I know a few people get a little bit nauseous on Mission Space and it puts a load of people off, but if you do have kiddos, just head around the back.
Yeah, go in through the shop and you'll find it there. We also used the play area outside Connections Cafe.
Yes, yeah, Wall-E themed.
People.
Or, I mean, there's a Wall-E sign up.
It was Wall-E themed when we went on it, wasn't it?
I think I went to Princess and the Frog for a bit.
It's just a generic play area, though.
Yeah.
They never changed the play area stuff.
Yeah. I've mentioned this before on a recent Disload episode, but Disney Parks, can we get more Wall-E, please? Can we get attractions or shows, please? Just, you know.
It's such a great film. That's
Underrated.
So underrated. Another thing that was really different this time for Penny was the water parks.
Yes.
Because we did all the family raft rides this time.
Yes.
And she did the bigger kiddie slides.
Yep.
The main one being the Typhoon Lagoon water ride that we did, because we stupidly in 22 did the bumpiest family ride in the world, didn't we?
Yeah, I think that's on Mayday Falls. It's not the biggest of family raft rides, but you feel every bump on that one. It was
very bumpy.
Yeah.
Whereas this time we did the newer one,
Misadventure Falls,
which was so good, but it goes up quite high on the... It's effectively like an escalator, isn't it?
Like a conveyor belt, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is a clever concept.
Instead of having to trek up to the top and then, you know, wait for your tube at that point.
But she did freak out about that bit.
Yeah, because you're going quite slowly up there.
You go slow and it does feel quite high. But the whole actual raft ride she loved.
Oh yeah,
we did it 3 times and she did it twice with your parents, didn't she?
Yes, yeah.
She loved it. And then at Blizzard Beach, we didn't do the family raft ride at Blizzard Beach, did we?
No, the queue was too big. However, the kiddie area in Blizzard Beach is fab now that they've added all of the different frozen elements. She loved that.
Yeah, she didn't actually get to any of the other slides in Blizzard Beach, did she? Because it was quite busy, wasn't it?
Yeah, the only thing we really utilised outside of the lazy river and the kiddie area on Blizzard Beach was the ski lift. She wanted to go on the ski lift to get up to the summit.
And how did that go?
She might take a few more years to go back on that one.
I don't blame her. I hate that ski lift.
But when we got up to the summit, like the rides that she could have gone in, like the toboggans and everything like that, had a massive queue. And it was getting a little bit later in the afternoon. It was our first day. So she's getting a little bit tired. So we had a nice journey up to the top and then we took the stairs back down. But we did jump into the wave pool at that point and she really loved that. Yeah,
because they've got bobbin waves there, haven't they?
Yeah.
For anyone that's listening that thinks, what the heck are bobbin waves? They're just little waves that are continuous. They're not like the big waves you get at Typhoon Lagoon that sweep you off your feet.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Blizzard Beach.
It was good. It was nice to go back. We hadn't been back for 10 years, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was nice to see that open.
It was nice to finally go back. And we'd never done the kiddie bit either, because obviously we didn't have kids back then.
Yeah.
So actually it was nice to see the kids area. She really loved it, didn't she?
Just the water park is definitely one to do with babies or kiddos for sure.
And it's more relaxed. It's a way more relaxed experience than a day at the park.
Yeah, definitely one of the chill days. Have to utilise the water park.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I would say was massively different was souvenirs, because we gave her own dollars, didn't we, this time?
Yes.
So she knew that she had her own money to spend.
Yeah.
Which we tried to instill that, money doesn't grow on trees and things cost a lot of money. So souvenirs was probably the one thing that she was quite different, because this time round she got into pins, didn't she?
Yes.
Which was the big thing that actually she wanted to spend her money on, was buying pins so that she could trade them. She's
a father's daughter.
She clearly passed on the strong gene for pin trading.
Absolutely.
So that was probably the main thing that was really different this time. Because souvenirs back in 22 was t-shirts or cuddly toys or pens. Because my child has an obsession with pens. That's a gene from my mum's side. So actually it was really different this time, because she had she had all the same what she wanted to spend her money on.
Yeah, definitely. It was starting to understand the cost of things and how far the money goes, which actually is a good development piece for a child of that age.
It is in Disney when things are quite a lot of money.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. So to wrap up talking about babies and kiddos over in Walt Disney World, what do you think you would take away as your key Disney wins for our trip in 2024?
So for me personally, the thing I would recommend to people every time, as it's always a winner, is the scavenger hunts in Epcot.
Yes.
They're about, I think they're usually between $10 and $15.
Yeah.
You get a prize at the end, but it keeps them engaged through World Showcase, because we all know World Showcase isn't always fun for kids when it includes food and drink.
Yeah, definitely.
But the scavenger hunt actually, not only does it force you into areas of World Showcase that you probably would never do, and I say that because I'd never been into Morocco before this year.
Yeah, we saw pretty much every inch of it looking for the scavenger items, didn't we?
So actually it forces you to go into the country, but also it engages the kids the whole way round, and I really liked that.
Yeah, we had two when we went, which was Flower and Garden season. We obviously had a Flower and Garden design scavenger hunt, and we also had an Easter scavenger hunt.
The Flower and Garden one was Spike the Bee.
Yeah.
Who actually was really hard to find.
Yeah, he's quite a small one.
There was two that we actually had to ask for help because we couldn't find him.
Tucked away in the flowers of UK pavilion was pretty difficult.
But he was a good one because he was about different flowers.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it's Flower and Garden. And then the other one was an Easter one, which was Easter eggs painted in designs of the characters.
Yes.
And again, some of them were pretty well hidden as well.
Yeah, and we're currently in Festival of the Arts season, and I've noticed for 2025 they have the same scavenger hunt that what they had in 2022, which was Figment in different famous paintings from around the world. So Figment's popping up in different art pieces. So that was a really good scavenger hunt to do as well.
That was a good one. Again, that one forced us into Morocco.
Yeah, I think the prize this year for completing that is a stencil.
I was a bit gutted with our prizes, that's the only thing. Well, prize. The Easter one was pretty good. You had a choice of 4 or 5 little... They look like keychains, don't they?
Yeah.
But they effectively had the little Easter egg design on them, didn't they?
Yeah.
We went for Judy Hop.
We had Judy Hop, yeah.
But on the back it has the extravaganza and the year you did it, which I thought was really good.
It's a nice little memento, isn't it?
Yeah. Whereas the Spike the Bee one we had was meant to be mini cornhole.
Oh, yes, it was.
I was so excited for mini cornhole.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind we went in March and it only started beginning of March.
Yeah.
They were already gone.
Yeah, they were waiting another restock, weren't they?
And that really upset me because I really wanted mini cornhole.
Do you know what?
And in the end, we came home with a frozen mini plate.
Do you know what? They are selling those cornholes, those mini cornholes on eBay for like 20 quid a pop.
Doesn't surprise me, because I'd be the person that would buy it.
Yes, you would.
I was desperate for mini cornhole.
Don't get me wrong, we've utilised the frozen plate, so you know.
But we had this problem back in 22 when we did the Figment one, because the Figment one was meant to be a paint your own mini model.
Yes, it was. Yeah, like a head.
And we didn't get that either.
No, it was Figment or Minnie or Mickey, wasn't it?
No. We got a magnet.
Yeah, we did get a magnet in the end.
And people are probably listening to this thinking, you're so ungrateful because you paid $10, $15 and you've got a prize at the end of it. But I just really wanted the cute prize.
Hey, the magnet's on the fridge, the frozen plate's being used, and the Judy Hopps memento is on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, it is. It's literally on a shelf. So this is an FYI to people that when I say do the scavenger hunts, I'm not doing it for the prize. Well, I wanted to do it for the prize, but the prize might not be the prize you want it to be.
The children just love the scavenger hunts. Another scavenger hunt that's really good and it's there all year round, doesn't change, is the Wilderness Explorer adventure pack that kiddos can do through Animal Kingdom.
And that's free, and that was really good actually. I was really impressed.
It's educational and entertaining. They get to do the Wilderness Explorer sign at the start to start themselves off. Penny loved doing that, and different sections around the park have different bits and pieces to learn about animals or conservation. I thought that was fab.
If you complete it, you get a sticker to say, I'm a Wilderness Explorer, to put on your pack, don't you?
Yeah.
We didn't actually complete it because there was too many stops and we didn't get to them all.
No. There's so many. It's in pretty much, well, there's...
I want to say there's like 15 stops.
It's not somewhere that I've necessarily taken any notice of, and I suppose you wouldn't if you didn't have kids, but there are loads around Animal Kingdom.
It was really good. I was really impressed. And the facts are actually like really good facts. Like they're not obvious.
Oh, I learned something.
Penny learned about what a herbivore and a carnivore was in the Dinoland bit.
And we all learned something about Pandora, because none of us really knew much about the wildlife or the vegetation of Pandora, so that was a good one to learn.
It was the vegetation of Pandora, wasn't it?
See, the memory's still there.
Well done. I'll let you off then.
There's also one in the Seas with Nemo or Seabase Alpha. For some of us OGs, they do a Dory scavenger hunt there.
You old man.
It will always be Seabase Alpha.
They do a Dory one, don't they? And you can pick up that little mini... It's only a little A5 passport, isn't it? But it's got stickers in it.
Yeah.
And it's like a sticker one, so when you go and see the animal or fish, many fish, around the aquarium, you put your sticker with your friend. And I think you can get a sticker for that, actually.
Yeah, you do at the end.
But that was another good one we did.
Yeah, so there's plenty to do for kiddos who want to just explore or roam or, you know, are heading around the world's showcase and want to have a little bit more education and entertainment.
Other one we haven't mentioned is Kid Cot.
Kid Cot, another staple of World Showcase for sure.
We've done that twice now. And I actually saw recently that you can purchase a Kid Cot passport now.
Oh, okay.
To put your stickers in. So instead of having your little free postcards in your Ziploc suitcase.
Sponsored by Ziploc.
Which now we have 4. Apparently we had to pick one up every time we went.
Absolutely.
They do an actual like physical paper passport now that you have to purchase, but I don't think it was much. I want to say it was only about $5, which I thought was quite reasonable actually. But it's somewhere hard that you can put your paper postcards from each country.
Yeah, definitely. If you're going to Epcot with kids, then Kid Cot will keep them entertained.
But again, some of them are tucked out of the way. And they're not on the map, from what I remember. You have to go searching for them.
Yeah, I remember Japan being quite tricky to find.
Japan was a random one. And France is in the gift shop.
Yes.
Canada was the one.
Oh, Canada's down next to Le Cellier.
Yeah, you have to go down towards the restaurant, which you'd never think of.
But again, all part of a scavenger hunt, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely worth doing all the scavenger hunts, especially the free ones. They're fab, but again, the ones in Epcot that you have to pay for, you get a prize at the end of, aren't overly expensive either. It's definitely a lot of fun. One of the big wins for me, and it was a 22 win. It's a 2024 win for me as well. is Fort Wilderness. I think Fort Wilderness, for kids, whether you're staying there or whether you just go to visit, it's a fab place to go outside the parks and roam about.
It was really good, wasn't it? We really enjoyed Fort Wilderness. So this time was different for us for Fort Wilderness because we didn't go for breakfast.
No, Trails End has changed, hasn't it, unfortunately?
RIP. There's a lot of things that are RIP this year compared to 22.
Disney is ever evolving.
But it was an easy little boat ride over, wasn't it, from Magic Kingdom again?
Yep.
Everyone loves a boat ride. You get a different view of Magic Kingdom and Contemporary as you go past.
For those who like taking a Disney snap or content for vlogs, that boat ride to Fort Wilderness or any of the locations around Seven Seas Lagoon is definitely worth it.
It was really good. And it's a nice chilled out little stroll, isn't it? We got lunch there, from what I remember, after we did a pony ride. Yeah,
we said about Trails End and the breakfast, and unfortunately it has moved from family style to just a quick service, and it's actually a really good place to go for a quick service meal with kiddos.
Yeah.
Out of the hustle and bustle of the park and the queues or having to wait for a mobile order within the theme park, get the boat ride over to Fort Wilderness. There was practically no one in there.
It was quiet, wasn't it? It was really good.
But the main thing for Fort Wilderness for me, something that we utilised in 2022, we did this time and probably will do for trips to come and as long as we can do, is heading to Tri-Circle D.
Yeah.
That ranch where you see all of the Disney horses and you have the opportunity to go on pony rides. And the pony rides themselves aren't overly expensive as far as Disney value is concerned.
We paid $12 for Penny to have 2 laps or 3? I think it was 2 laps.
It was 2 laps.
She loves it. Noah will be able to do it next time because I think it's from the ages 2 to 7.
Yeah, I think he was too young this time, but probably would be just about right.
I think it is 2 to 7. She loved it. It's nice getting to see the ponies. It's nice to give a little bit back to Disney conservation and, looking after the horses.
Yeah.
And it's just a very chilled out place to be. And for those that don't know me, I love horses, so they'll always have a place in my heart.
If you're a horse fan, then Fort Wilderness is a must-do.
I mean, who doesn't love going to see the Headless Horseman's horse?
Exactly. That's where he is.
And the horses that pull the carriages for the Disney weddings. That's just magic.
Yeah, make sure you spend an afternoon or a morning there in your Walt Disney World trip for sure.
Agreed. One of my other big wins for people with kids, and it's based on modern Disney, is the new Magic Band Plus.
Yes.
We bought one for Penny because she didn't have a Magic Band. They are a lot of money, but they are also very interactive in the parks, and I don't think we were actually quite aware of how interactive. Mainly with what were the 50th statues in the parks. As far as I'm aware, pretty much all of them are interactive in the sense that if you wave at them, they talk or make noises. Dante is my biggest one because he has the Coco noise when you wave at him.
Yeah.
Groot and Rocket actually talk, which was epic. And Simba talks to you in Animal Kingdom, from what I remember.
Yeah, and Woody in Hollywood Studios.
But also, they light up for the nighttime shows. So that was a nice bit of interactivity. I don't think they lit up for the parade.
I just remember it for shows and attractions. Fantasmic, it lit up with the music, which was pretty good.
Fantasmic, it went mad, didn't it?
Penny certainly loved having a Magic Band Plus on her.
Yeah, she loved, being able to be interactive with the statues. It was a nice, extra bit of magic.
I think speaking of Fantasmic and just nighttime spectaculars in general, something that certainly was a Disney win for us with kiddos was making sure that after the fireworks, the Fantasmic performance, we didn't rush back to the bus.
Oh, yeah. So, the Magic Kingdom night we went, it was a very busy night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Noah needed a feed before we got back on the bus. So we took what we thought was going to be 5 minutes. What we planned was going to be 5 minutes. And effectively, went and sat in one of the nooks off of Main Street. So if people don't know what I'm talking about, between the shops, there's a couple of, you have to exit a shop, walk across the road, go back into a shop.
Yeah, little alcoves.
Yeah. So we took ourselves off and sat in one of those just because it was out the way, it was easy to feed. Penny could have a bit of a run around because she was excited, and it was away from the hustle and bustle. We ended up staying there for 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
Had a little walk down Main Street because it had quietened down massively, because effectively everyone leaves the park at the same time after fireworks.
Pretty much everyone just does a 180.
Yeah.
And walks down Main Street.
When actually most of the shops are still open after the fireworks to try and ease the flow of people, but most people just try and exit. Anyway, this one night that we left 20-25 minutes after the fireworks, we got straight on an empty bus, straight out of the park. There was no queuing, there was no hustle and bustle. It was easy breezy, nice and quiet. For the poor people that had all rushed to get to the monorail and the ferries to get back to the ticket and transportation centre for their car, were still queued.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
from what I could hear on the tannoy, the queue was over an hour. So if you're thinking of staying off site and having to drive and doing the monorail or the ferry into Magic Kingdom, don't leave the park straight away. It's not worth it. You're just going to end up queuing. Unless you leave before the fireworks end and beat the rush, you're never going to make it within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I've been one of those people over the years who have turned around quickly after fireworks and headed to bus stations and been in an extensive queue waiting for the one that sticks out for me is when we used to stay in the All-Stars, and obviously the All-Star buses were notorious for being incredibly busy. Having an extra 20 minutes to half hour and letting that first wave of people go, you'll find you'll have a better opportunity of getting a seat on a bus.
Mm-hmm.
Just by giving yourself half hour. Now, I appreciate, obviously, kiddos could be Disney tired. They might just be hanging on when it comes to the end of the fireworks, and then you need to get home as quickly as possible for sleep time, etc. Very much caters dependent on the energy levels of the child, but if you can spend that little bit extra time after a nighttime show and just stick around and let the queues and let the hustle and bustle go, it may work out for your benefit.
Even 10 minutes. Even 10 minutes, so those people that are in desperate need to get back as quick as possible go. It will only prove well, like it'll only go like well. It's never a bad idea. That's what I'm trying to say.
Not. Definitely not.
We were king of the bus that night.
We were king of the bus that night. We were the only people in it. It was like a private chauffeur back to Saratoga.
It was lovely. If you're doing nighttime shows with kids, don't leave them all until the last week.
Yes, that's a good tip.
Because then you will end up doing every other night as a late night for shows. That was the only thing that we didn't manage particularly well this time.
Yeah, towards the end of the second half of the week, we thought. I don't think it was necessarily that we planned it that way. It's just the way it materialised, and
we'd always booked in Fantasmic because we did the dining package for Fantasmic, so we'd already pre-booked our breakfast, so we knew which night we were going to do Fantasmic. For those that don't know what the Fantasmic dining package is, you effectively do a breakfast or a lunch in a specific restaurant
in Hollywood Studios.
In Hollywood Studios, and with that you get a reserved seating area for Fantasmic. The reason we did it is because from previous years when we've done Fantasmic, it can be a bit of a free-for-all with seating, and I didn't want the stress of us being squished like sardines with the four of us with a baby in tow and not having a great view, especially seeing as Penny had never seen it and we knew we had Noah and it was on at 9 o'clock at night.
And it was just returning, wasn't it, from its lengthy refurbishment. It had just returned within the last 6 months, so we knew from some of the vlogs we watched that it was getting quite busy due to that popularity of it.
It is a bit on the pricier side, and you don't get a discount for DVC or annual pass, because it's classed as a dining package. But for us, it was worth its weight in gold because we wanted to do the character breakfast anyway. So we did...
Plain dine.
Yes, in...
Hollywood and Vine.
Well done. I can't remember the names of these places, so thank you. Which was the breakfast that we did.
Yes.
So we got to see Goofy, Vampirina, Doc McStuffins, and Fancy Nancy.
We did.
2 of those Penny didn't have a clue who she was.
No.
But she loved meeting them all nonetheless. Breakfast, outstanding.
Yeah, one of the best places we've been for breakfast.
It was a buffet breakfast, and a lot of people on listening to this will go, oh, I don't like buffet breakfast. It was impeccable. Everything was baking. It was so hot. There was great variety. The waitress was great. She constantly topped up her coffee. So I appreciated that. We were never rushed. And we had one of the characters, I think it was Goofy.
It was.
That never looped past us the first time because we were eating and talking to her. So she got the cast member that was looking after Goofy to purposely come back to our table so we saw them all.
Yeah.
That is Disney magic.
Absolutely. Again, that's the reason why the cast members are the magic.
So we always were going to do a character breakfast anyway. And this just kind of linked in for us having the premium package for Fantasmic. And it worked a treat. We had our own lane to walk up to Fantasmic, which meant we got really good stroller parking. And for those that have strollers know that that's quite a big thing when you're parking up for an event like that. And the premium seating, or the reserve seating, was barely even half full. We had such a good view. We had no one else on our seats. It meant we could spread out. It meant Penny could stand up so she could see everything. We were far enough back that we had a great view of all of it. It was, for me, it was worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, definitely. So good to have Fantasmic back as well.
Yes, my favourite. It's my favourite night time.
Hands down, the best spectacular.
People will argue that to the toss because Disney fireworks are pretty incredible. But Fantasmic will always be my favourite.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good tip. If you are considering doing a character meal anyway, and you want to utilise the best viewing area for Fantasmic, then have a little look at the options in Hollywood Studios. And by going for a breakfast over a lunch, you do save a couple of dollars too.
From what I remember, it wasn't massively inflated. Hollywood and Vine was the cheapest option of them all.
Yeah.
Which was always a bonus. And we got to see characters.
Yeah, it was worth it, mainly for Goofy.
He was epic.
Always is. Okay, so those are probably what we would call Disney wins. How about anything that you probably think, maybe next time I will do something slightly different? We've already mentioned spacing out the nighttime shows.
The main one I can think of is we did a birthday breakfast for Penny at, I'm not very good at pronouncing this, Akashus. But we didn't pick the best time.
Well, when it comes to princess character meets and character dining, you're very limited because of the popularity.
I can't fault the character interaction. The thing that we had the issue with was being rushed on the food. And that's mainly our fault for the time we booked. So we did a late morning reservation, which was effectively between 10:30 and 11 o'clock, which wasn't the best timing because lunch effectively starts to be set up from 11:30. So while we didn't feel particularly rushed with the princesses, it was quite rushed on the food. And the food was tasty. It just probably wasn't as great as it would be at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. We had the interactions with Penny. She loved being able to hug and have a photo with all of the princesses. They did a little procession in the middle of it as well. But I noticed once we had seen every princess and they did the little procession around the hall, at that point people would start handing out checks, i.e. your time's up, you finished sort of thing. And at that point we were sort of like, now's the time to eat, because we had seen the characters, we'd seen the procession, now let's get some food in us. We probably could have done with going a little bit earlier so we had a little bit more time to enjoy the meal as well as the entertainment.
Because it is family style, which I don't mind. We've done fair few family style meals. It just felt a little rushed come the end.
Yeah, definitely.
But for princess meats, it was great. We took that option over Cinderella's royal table mainly because of price, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But actually, the princess interaction was far better. We got to see 5 princesses. They all came to the table. They all spoke to Penny individually. She got an autograph and a picture. And then they did the procession around the main hall. So I can't fault the character interaction. It was just from a food and having time to eat point of view.
And it was a shame because anyone who's been to Akershus, those versions of the waffles they have there,
oh my god, they were so good,
fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So I would like to have gone earlier so I could have 3 or 4 portions of those waffles, because they are 10 out of 10.
We also didn't time it particularly great with Noah's nap. Well, actually, no, that's a fib. Noah didn't get the memo about napping before we got there.
He didn't.
So he was a little on the grumpy side.
Thankfully, those waffles came in handy at that point when the princesses came round, because he certainly enjoyed them as well. So
maybe they tried to get rid of us early because he had made a mess. Maybe that's why.
Maybe.
We didn't consider that option, did we?
Maybe.
Whoopsie.
But no, definitely a worthy alternative to Cinderella's royal table if you are looking at a cheaper option and you do want to utilise the princess. But yeah, I think as a maybe next time, probably go for an earlier booking.
Yeah, don't do late breakfast like we did.
Speaking of Epcot, one of the other maybe next times that we do need to make sure we do next time was the Frozen ride. Anyone who is a Frozen fan, and Penny's certainly a Frozen fan, as the majority of Disney girls are, will know that ride is a busy ride.
The day we went to do it, we were meant to get there for the first thing in the morning, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were actually meant to do it before we went to Akershus, weren't we? But by the point we'd already got to that ride, it was already an hour and a half. And then we finished Akershus, Noah did a nap, and then we went to circle back round to it, and at that point it was a 2-hour. And we kind of got in the queue to see how it went, and within 20 minutes it still hadn't moved. So we called it quits, and we never made it back on there, because when we went to get a lightning lane for it, the next time we went to Epcot, they had all gone really early.
Yeah, so there's certain rides that if you set out and you think to yourself, like, I definitely need to go on that, and I think the Frozen ride will probably be one like that for next time. Make sure you either get there early, queue up, or maybe utilise any sort of lightning lane pennies you have at your disposal for that. Same for Cosmic Rewind. Like we tried the virtual queue. We had a virtual queue. Unfortunately, the day didn't plan out because we were busy doing other things. We didn't necessarily make it on there. I think at the point of when our virtual queue was coming on, it was later in the afternoon and the kiddos were ready for naps at that point, so we didn't risk a tantrum. We headed out. When we tried to go on it again, there wasn't any virtual queue availability, because obviously that's another popular ride. So, and maybe next time would be Cosmic Rewind as well.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we did quite well, I've got to admit.
There's other little things, isn't there, that we said that we would like to done. Like when we went in the evening to Magic Kingdom, we wanted to do the photo pass at Rapunzel's Tower.
Yes.
We didn't do that. And other little things like is it Pinocchio's? They have the book where you can write your wishes.
Yes.
I wanted to do that and we completely forgot about it. So there's little things that we've got on the list to do next time.
But hey, it just goes to show in the Walt Disney World trip, you just can't fit everything in 2 weeks, and that is the reason why they keep us hooked and we continue to book holidays into our future and our kids' future.
For anyone that books 2 weeks with kids, you're never going to get it all done.
And I think that's a good way to sort of cap our conversation regarding babies and children, is manage those expectations. No matter how efficient you are at planning, no matter how your days are planning out, you will always find that there will be things that you potentially miss out on. The latest thing that you see on the vlogs to purchase, eat, drink, etc., character meet and greets, and so on and so forth. Plans will change. Don't cement yourself into routine, especially if you've got little ones. Go with the flow. Enjoy the moments that you do experience when you're out there. And there's always another holiday that you can utilise those ones that you missed out on.
Just don't sweat the small stuff. Just make sure you just don't stress about it. Just don't stress. Because there's always another day. Plans will always change. But they will always be there. Apart from Triceratops Men.
R.I.P. Chesters and Hestlers.
R.I.P. Donald Slider Bash.
Right, to cap off 2024, I've done this with a couple of guests where we've done full episodes called Disney Awards, which will go for all of the favourite things that happened on those trips. Most recently, I jumped on with Kevin and Deb from Brit's Guide to DVC, and they shared all of their favourite things from their trips, so definitely go check that out. And also check out Brit's Guide to DVC at the moment, because Kev and Deb are going through the places that they stayed and also other bits and pieces from their fabulous trip that they did at the end of 2024, so make sure you're checking out Brit's Guide. But how about we do a quickfire version of this and just go through all of the favourite things that we had from our 2024 trip, personally. Okay, here we go.
Good luck.
And this is for you and I, not the kiddos. So you ready?
My favourite.
Your favourite.
Not family favourite.
No, this is definitely you.
Oh, no pressure.
Right, here we go. Favourite ride or attraction?
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Oh, good shout. Mine would be Rise of the Resistance. Will always be Rise of the Resistance due to my obsession with Star Wars.
I just thought it was hilarious on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train that me and Penny was just the two screaming and the rest of the train was silent.
That will be a Disney moment that will long live with me as well, and I wasn't even on the ride.
And all the other people on the train.
Favourite daytime show?
The Nemo show in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, it is a good one.
That was great.
Big Blue and Beyond.
We'd not done that one for a couple of years either, because I don't think we did it in 22 because it wasn't on, was it?
No, it wasn't.
So we hadn't seen it since 2018.
And it's fantastic. Actually, it's really underrated. I know it's supposed to be quickfire round, but again, another fabulous show to see with kids because of the puppetry and the music. Really, really good.
That Crush puppet / animatronic they have, incredible.
Yeah, really good. Good pick, that one.
And Mr. Ray. Underrated.
Mr. Ray
It's a man on a bike.
It is, yeah, fabulous.
It's incredible.
My favourite daytime show is also Animal Kingdom, Festival of Lion King.
No, that will always be your favourite.
And also, again, a bit like Nemo, the fact that it has come back to its original form now with the Tumble Monkeys, the full show, still missing a few performers on the floor, but for the most part it is the OG show and it's fabulous.
22 only had about 4 people on the floor, had no Tumble Monkey, had no Fireman from what I remember.
No, it had the fireman but no tumbles.
And it didn't have the birds from what I remember.
That's right, they weren't flying.
They weren't even like next to each other.
Socially distant birds.
It was very sad.
Animal Kingdom for shows, definitely recommend. Favourite character interaction?
Mickey and Minnie in their celebration outfits in Epcot.
All tucked away behind the Imagination Pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a good interaction.
I loved that interaction for how they were with Penny, but also how they were with Noah. It was the cutest thing.
Yeah, and to get both of them at once, definitely worth it.
In their celebration outfits as well.
Yeah, cool interaction, that one. Mine, we've already mentioned it. Chippendale Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
You could easily have said Chippendale Dino Bash.
Yeah.
Just give me Chippendale.
Chippendale.
Favourite nighttime spectacular?
Fantastic.
Fantasmic. You gotta do it.
Doesn't take much thinking of, in my opinion.
And actually, in new scenes, I think only elevate that show.
It was also the first time we'd seen Happily Ever After, and I was very impressed. And it did get me in the feels, but Fantasmic will just always have my heart.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're going to do one, then Fantasmic's the one to do.
Yeah. Although, I do believe you can't compare pyrotechnics and a water show. You just can't compare them. They are very different shows.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
But I still love Fantasmic.
Fantasmic reigns. Favourite overall park this time? Because it changes every trip.
And this is for me, not for the kids.
This is for you.
Oh, I loved Epcot this time.
I'm going to say Epcot too. And obviously this is for us, but going on a trip as a family of 4 with a baby, I would never have thought that it would be Epcot.
I loved Epcot.
The main thing I loved about Epcot was the fact that you could see more of Epcot again now that obviously the construction had reduced in the central hub area.
I just thought there was a lot to see and do as a family. But don't get me wrong, Magic Kingdom's got all the rides. Magic Kingdom has all the kids' rides. Animal Kingdom is a hot, chilled out park. But actually, there wasn't much to see and do as a family. Whereas...
in Animal Kingdom?
Like walking around.
Safari.
Unless you go on the safari... No, that's a ride. It's not walking.
Yeah, true.
Whereas Epcot, if he was having a nap, there was loads to see and do. Stop and get myself a mimosa. Pick up some shave ice.
It's very true.
From Kaki... Well, they don't call it shave ice though, did they? Was it Kakigori?
Oh,
it was
butcher
good.
That if I tried to say it. But...
that was from Japan, by the way, on the quick service booth. It was great.
Actually, one thing that we've completely... I know this is supposed to be quickfire, and it was never going to be quickfire with us, but another thing for kiddos, but also I really enjoyed it, I know you really enjoyed it, was Journey of Water with Moana.
Oh my god, why have we not mentioned that?
That's a great addition to Epcot.
I can't believe we've not mentioned Moana, because it was epic.
Yeah. Take a change of clothes?
Or 2.
Yeah.
We went the first time was on Penny's birthday, and we spent an hour and a half in there.
Yeah, it was a long time, and she loved it, and I was more than happy to be in there.
Was incredible. I did not expect it to be that interactive. I did not expect there to be that many Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And when I see Easter eggs, people, look around, because when you're in there, there is every single character you could ever think of from the Moana film in the Moana walkthrough.
The music, the technology of it all is just, it's fabulous.
It's beautiful.
It is brilliant. It's such a good addition to Epcot.
It was amazing. But yes, take a spare change of clothes, because Penny got absolutely soaked. And when I say soaked, her birthday badge effectively melted from being so wet.
I think we ended up having to go and get changed in the toilets near the back of the Imagination Pavilion, and then we went into the DVC Members Lounge just to dry off.
Yeah, we did. That was on her birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's fantastic. If you're a Moana fan, if you're not a Moana fan, just make sure you spend some time in there. It's brilliant.
We did it twice, didn't we? We did it on her birthday, and then we did it the next time we went to Epcot.
Yeah.
And it was, it's great. Have your patient pants though, because everyone wants to do exactly the same thing as you're doing.
Oh, definitely.
So just pack your patient pants and relax.
So getting back onto our quick fire round of faves and sticking with water, what about your fave water park, since we can compare them because they were both open for once?
This time was Typhoon Lagoon.
This time and every time for me will be Typhoon Lagoon, but I appreciated the visit to Blizzard Beach.
I can't say Blizzard Beach because I've not done enough of the rides in Blizzard Beach.
Very true.
But Blizzard Beach does have a very good lazy river.
Yes.
It will just never beat the wave pool at Typhoon for me.
Yeah, it has that as like the staple. And I really like Miss Adventure Falls as a family ride.
I thought the family raft ride was great.
Yeah, and of course, Dole Whip in Typhoon Lagoon.
Oh yeah, that was epic.
Remember Dole Whip.
You're welcome.
And also, if you're going to try and find a place to sit and also have a space to go and get a quick snack or two, anyone who remembers Shark Reef, the place you used to go where there's the upturned submarine and go and do some snorkeling with sharks, now that's just been filled in. There's a load of sunbeds there, load of chairs. It's very quiet compared to other places around Typhoon Lagoon. Go to that area, there's a couple of rides there, and also you are in close proximity to Dole Whip. Go and do that.
You're welcome, because you didn't even know it was there until I googled it.
Didn't know it was there. I just assumed it was just the blocked off area now.
I made your holiday because of that, so you're welcome. Also, that sandy part that's really quiet, obviously right next to Miss Adventure Falls, Noah take a great nap. No one knows it's there.
Yeah.
It's like the quietest sandy beach that you will ever find in Typhoon Lagoon. And if you're wondering whereabouts it is and you don't know where Shark Reef is, because I never had any clue where it is, go in that entrance and go right and just keep going right.
Yep. Yeah, definitely my favourite water park. And yeah, just emphasised with the Dole Whip.
Yeah.
Okay, favourite meal. Now we're talking food.
Oh. Random one, probably Space 220 for me. Just for the experience.
And that was in the lounge. But still a good place to get some really good food. The tacos.
People would think, don't take young kids to Space 220. But we didn't book the restaurant. We did the lounge so that we could effectively walk in, have a drink. If the kids weren't feeling it, we could get out. But actually, we ended up having 2 small plates of food.
Yeah.
And we did the kids' meal for penny. And the only reason we did the kids' meal for penny was because we didn't have to do it as a 3-course meal.
Yeah.
We could have the main, and if that's all she wanted, that was it.
And it was actually a huge portion.
It was a great portion for the kids' meals.
She had the pasta, and if you had 2 kids, that is a shareable meal.
It was great for our kids, wasn't it? Because Noah was weaning at that point, so he was trying it, and it was great food for him. We did just 1 sharer plate, didn't we?
We got the tacos.
And for us, it probably wasn't enough.
But it's beautiful.
But it was great food. Also, seeing spacemen floating across the screen is pretty epic when you're eating. And, unpopular opinion, I would say the view in the lounge or in the bar, as opposed to sat down the bottom in the restaurant part, is probably a better view.
It's slightly more elevated, isn't it? So you can see all of the screens.
Because you're not just sat in one window, are you, to outside? You can see all the windows.
And for kiddos, really cool souvenir cup in there.
Oh yeah, with the flush and ice cube.
Definitely worth it. Yeah, Space 220 it's an experience as well as a restaurant. It's definitely worth it if you can get it.
It is a hard reservation to get though, so don't be disappointed. But top tip, you can walk up to the reservation desk at Space 220 to see if they've got any availability.
Yes, they do on occasion take up walk-ups, don't they?
Yep. Especially for the lounge.
Okay, my favourite meal would be... We do a lot of quick service because obviously families and little ones sit up restaurants are a little bit trickier to manoeuvre, especially at that age. But for my one, it probably would be Satuli Canteen and the cheeseburger pods. I thought they were fantastic.
They're so good.
It's a cheeseburger in a bao bun.
But it tastes amazing.
So good. So good. Definitely worth doing on your Pandora trip for sure. Favourite snack?
Gaston cinnamon roll.
Yeah, that's a staple whenever we go to Magic Kingdom now, I think.
It was epic.
Actually, a really good one if you do want to just skip breakfast and you want a brunch or whatever.
It's big enough for 4 people.
Shareable. My favourite snack is any iteration of Dole Whip, but the Dole Whip float that we had in Tamu Tamu in Harambe, Fanta, bit of Dole Whip on top, strawberry drizzle, fantastic.
I was not sure it was going to be nice. It was epic.
Definitely worth getting. In fact, any Dole Whip float I think is worth getting. Okay, favourite new experience?
The Boneyard.
Ooh, this is for you.
Oh no, it's not for me. Oh.
Favourite new experience for you?
Probably watching Happily Ever After for me.
It is a good fireworks show.
We'd listened to that song quite a few times and it made me cry just listening to the song, so I knew that the fireworks were going to set me completely off. But seeing the kids' faces was just epic.
Yeah, that's a great shout. That is a great shout. For me, it was a new experience for me. It's probably not a new experience for many people who do go over there, but we've never had the chance to do it. Flight of Passage.
Oh yeah, we'd never done FOP before.
Yeah. Anyone who's been on it will know it is just a fantastic ride.
I'm still yet to do it because I'm a bit of a wimp about going on rides on my own.
I'm going to have to make you do it next time because it has to be witnessed.
Well, hopefully next time I can take Penny on it, so at least I can drag her on with me and we'll both be scared together.
You can scream together.
Yeah.
And to top it off, just a magic moment. Something that stands out for 2024 as a magic moment.
Mine's a character meet and greet. And it's the Pete Silly Sideshow meeting Daisy and Minnie. Minnie in particular because she was playing peekaboo with Noah, and he absolutely loved it, and it melted me.
Yeah, that was another good character interaction. She interacted really well with Penny as well, like, because Penny had Minnie Mouse nails on, didn't she? And she liked the nails. And she was dressed up as Little Mermaid, and she
didn't rush us at all. It probably got me in the feels, that one.
Yeah, that was a good interaction. Yeah. And it was, that was a magic moment. My magic moment, I mentioned it earlier, I also mentioned it on the episode with Luke, but it was closing down Chester and Hester's of an evening. Only people in that area. We looped round on Triceratops Spin probably 3 times. Everyone was applauding when we finished, and then we went back on. It was like it was the last day of Chester and Hester's, but it wasn't. It was, a year before or whatever. But it was fantastic to know that was probably the last time we were going to be in that area, and to have it all to ourselves. Penny was overjoyed that she was able to just go on this ride that she loved multiple times.
They kept calling her in, didn't they? They're like, "Come on!"
And then we obviously walked out and closed down the park. I thought that memory will stand out for me for that part for sure.
Yeah, it was epic. It was an epic holiday.
Overall, as we mentioned, favourite Walt Disney holiday to date. And I'm sure the next one will probably say the same because we do it every year, but no, this one will stand out.
It was amazing. We're very fortunate and very lucky to have such good holidays.
And we certainly appreciate it. So that's it. We finally sat down to do a 2024 recap of a March Walt Disney World trip, but it's fab to look back at it. We know that there's so much to see and do over there, and there's so much to plan. It's tricky if you're a first timer. It's tricky if you're a repeated visitor of Walt Disney World these days,
especially with all the changes that happen.
So we hope that our insight into our trip in 2024 is something that may potentially help anyone who is planning to go over there. Please do reach out to us on the Devonshire Diz on Instagram.
We love talking Disney.
Obviously we've got a podcast, so we're happy to talk to anyone, and for people who are seasoned veterans like ourselves going to Walt Disney World. Any
advice or opinions we can give, we'd love to do it. We love to help people with Disney planning. We'd love to just talk Disney in general, and about our favourite parts of the parks and all things Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, definitely. Looking into this year in 2025, might be taking a break from Walt Disney World, mainly to replenish DVC points, and also we've got some larger plans on the horizon for 2026, heading back over to Walt Disney World, and possibly Adam Kuma, AC from the Disload, will like to hear this part, possibly adding in a cruise.
Hopefully adding in a cruise.
Fingers crossed that materialises. Whether we do make a cheeky trip over to Disneyland Paris potentially might happen. We'll keep everyone posted on Instagram if that's the case. Disney on Ice comes down to the West Country, usually biannual, so there's a chance that it might materialise again this year. We haven't heard if West Point and Exeter is going to have it, but if it does, we'll no doubt be there.
Hopefully.
So whatever happens, we will probably get a Disney fix in 2025 for sure, and we'll definitely be sharing it with you.
If you have your way, we will.
So yeah, hopefully there's more magical memories to come. But thank you kindly for listening to us talk about our 2024 trip. Thank you to anyone who engages with us on Instagram, anyone who listens to the podcast. We really, really do appreciate it. Please like and share this episode. Comment on posts on Instagram. We're actually on TikTok now.
We got with the 21st century.
No idea what that's all about, but there's a Devonshire Diz TikTok account alongside the Instagram. We're continuously putting some videos on YouTube, and by continuously we are dragging out our 2024 trip of videos, mainly because of time. We haven't been able to upload them as consistent as we would like to, but that's life, unfortunately. But if anyone does want to just jump on and see some of our memories, we're putting little videos on YouTube as well. Instagram's where you're most likely able to connect with us, and anyone who does want to join us for a Disney related chat in 2025, drop us a message.
Or anything that you'd like to hear more about from our trips as well, let us know, because we've got plenty more to talk about.
We're doing this on a Saturday night in January, and the fact that we are sitting down to record a podcast episode on a Saturday night shows what our passion is like for Disney. So yeah, we're looking out for like-minded people to share that sort of passion. So you are more than welcome to start a Disney chat with us. But for now, from Lauren and I, happy 2025. I hope it's filled with magical memories, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you next time.